Folks, Arm and Hammer here. Wodapalooza will not be taking place in 2021 and will instead be moving back to its traditional time in January 2022. But what does that tell us about the CrossFit Games season and its viability moving forward? Before we take a look at that, be sure to subscribe to the channel because there is obviously lots of content coming and you're not going to want to miss it. So just hit that subscribe button. And of course, stick around for the end of the episode when I tell you a little bit about my newest sponsor, Calicure. Let's get into it. During an appearance on Make Pods Great Again, Matt O'Keefe, who, as you know, has his hands in so many different parts of this industry and this ecosystem, broke the news that Wodapalooza will not be taking place in 2021. There will be no Wodapalooza this year, but instead will resume with Wodapalooza in January of 2022. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
You know, to run an event in May, like we really need to be going right now. In a lot of ways. And you know, we don't run small events. We're a little different than some of the others in the market. But like, you know, Wodapalooza is 2,500 athletes, 1,000 volunteers. There's 40,000 people that run through that property over 4 days. I can't like wonder when I'm going to do that, right? So, you know, that event we're going to push outside the system. That's going to go back to where it was. It's going to live on its own. We would love to collaborate with CrossFit in some way, and I think we will on that event, and we'll work through that. But that's going to go back to January, be this standalone spectacle event, you know, provide an awesome earning opportunity with athletes, and be, you know, this independent festival, hopefully in conjunction, and I think it will be with CrossFit, right?
There's a lot to unpack from what Matt O'Keefe was saying right there. It's not just about saying Wodapalooza is not going to take place in 2021. It's going to go back to being in January. It's going to start up again in 2022, because all of that makes a lot of sense. But there's a lot we can read between the lines, between what he's saying about how CrossFit is organizing the semifinals, what it means for Wodapalooza to be outside of the season, and what that actually has in terms of an effect on the professionability and professionalism of this sport. Specifically about Wodapalooza, if you've never been, it's really difficult to explain the magnitude of its place within the season, even though it basically never lived inside of the season until a couple of years ago. And the interesting thing about Wodapalooza is that outside of the CrossFit Games themselves, it is the largest event in the space by orders of magnitude. More people attend it, more money changes hands, more money is earned by the athletes, it has more fans, more spectators. It just is a bigger event, and in many ways, it is actually a more enjoyable event compared to something like the Games, because it's just in Miami in January. The weather is nice, the time of year is perfect, the amount of people that show up and the vibe that it brings because of the city it's in is very unique, and it also sets off a very interesting set of events itself by including various different disciplines, from the weightlifting show-offs to the strongman competitions. And later on in this interview, O'Keefe talks about wanting to include things like powerlifting and boxing and different showcases to make it much more of an Arnold Sports Festival-ish type experience, as opposed to just showing up and watching people do burpees and thrusters. So Wodapalooza is a unique and incredibly valuable experience, and it absolutely deserves to succeed on its own, and it will. They'll be just fine. And O'Keefe's bringing up a few different points about why they want to move it to January 22. And one of the biggest things that he's talking about there is that there's no way of doing it correctly if they're going to compromise on the things that this COVID situation that we still find ourselves in. Those compromises are going to be required by the situation. In order for them to actually pull off Wodapalooza the way that it is required to pull off, for it to be the product that people know and love and expect, it needs to take place in an environment that is unfettered by those types of restrictions. Folks, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see even more clippy goodness, hit one of the links on the screen right now. And if you want to see the video that clip just originated from, link is in the description below. Hope you guys check some more stuff out while you're here. Enjoy. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.